Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Incomplete Skeptic Sober Wise Guy series. With the Incomplete Skeptic, I try to impact the world through examining minds that have self-imposed limitations and bring a person to the point of being willing to question their convictions. Basically, I like to explore marginalized people and the ideas behind them. And what makes them tick. But the Sober Wise Guy series is another creature entirely. It's about folks that are sober for at least 30 years, typically, sometimes longer, like today's guest, who is 51 years sober. And it's like, ay, he got sober way before I did, that's for sure. But I think we sober up through serious self-examination, and like Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. It might seem a bit harsh, but I wonder if we're really living if our life is unexamined. So, and that's what we do with the 12 steps. And here you'll get a chance to make an examination of Bob's life, a little bit of my life, I suppose, as an interviewer. But staring into the abyss is what we consider to be like the first step. And Bob's going to talk about what he used to be like, what happened to turn his life around, and what he's like now. And after my rather lengthy introduction, hi, Bob. Welcome to Sober Wise Guy. Appreciate your being here.
Thank you. Yep. Nice to be here.
So let's just start out with what's your sober date, and then you can just have the floor. It's all yours, buddy.
Okay, my sober date was August 4th, 1973. So that's a little while ago. And so I'm 51 plus years sober. And on that particular date, August 4th, 73, I had a DUI, and I wound up in the St. Louis Park, Minnesota jail after being arrested for DUI. And as a matter of fact, I got out of the jail the following morning, and I had to walk home. And that was it's about a mile and a half or so to the jail. And I walked home, but I was sober at that point, although groggy, of course, and I've been sober ever since. And I've been in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous ever since. And I do go to weekly meetings and other meetings too at times. I also happen to go to my wife's Al-Anon meeting on a Wednesday, and I go to my AA meeting is on a Sunday, although it used to be on a Monday, but then I got switched around and went to a different group, and it's actually more in my close to me. I used to go to Edina, Minnesota for my AA group, but now it's St. Louis Park, which is where I live, and it's happens to be in a Lutheran church. I believe it's Lutheran, isn't it, Ginny? No, maybe it isn't Lutheran. No, it doesn't matter, but I haven't been going there for too long. I've been actually this newer one is another fellow that I know in my neighborhood is the leader of that, and he's been the leader for quite some time now, and he's been in the program for over 40 years now. So anyway, that's the long and the short of it.
That's how you got started. And did your DUI have a crash or any car damage, or
I had a
what
little
happened?
bit of a crash, yes. In fact, it was only right from where I'm sitting now, it's probably less than a mile from where I'm sitting here today. And it happened to be right in front of a uh, a mortuary of
Hmm.
all things. And thankfully, I didn't wind up in the mortuary myself. But anyway,
No.
yeah, that's where I had my DUI, and then I was taken taken by a police car to the St. Louis Park jail. And of course, I was put in there overnight, and I got out the next morning. And
You had to have your card signed.
and I had during that time, I got my sentence. Well, part of my sentence, I think I paid a fine, plus I had to go to AA. I had to have my card signed and go to AA every week for a
Hmm.
year.
I didn't
And,
know they were doing that in the 70s. Huh. So they've been doing
yeah,
that for a long time.
and I haven't been, and I've been going ever since. So that was just the start of my AA journey, and I've been in it for all these years.
So I've, you know, you probably, maybe you know this, I don't know, but I started speaking for MAD and Mothers Against Drunk Driving in
Oh yeah,
91.
I'm
Yeah,
aware.
so you knew that. So, and I've met a lot of people through the years of speaking, and uh, there's a whole bunch of people that don't sober up after getting a DWI, or even if they have some kind of a attending issue, whether it be a crash, a fight, embarrassment, etc. And they don't sober up. But why do you think you did? And, what made the difference for you, you know?
It's a good question. I don't, I think I took it seriously. And some people just go into this thing and they don't take it too seriously, and they go back out and start drinking again. And no, I didn't do that. And I've been sober all these years, and I like being sober because I can remember what I did yesterday and the day before. So, you know, and I try to keep my wits about me, and I live it just like one day at a time. Sometimes it's 1 minute at a time, but I do always you know I read the big book, uh, and I read the grapevine, and I do that very religiously, and that's all real important to me. And of course, my meetings are very important to me. And I do go on a Monday night. Well, actually, I changed it from Monday night. Now I go Sunday night. So, but I do that every week, and sometimes I'll go to a meeting. Even well, they have a meeting in my old meeting grounds where I used to go every single day of the week, and sometimes I'll go to that too. That's on noon. That's a noon meeting, but the other meetings are the other meetings are Sunday at 7:30 p.m.
And you mentioned the grapevine. I know what it is, but audience members might not. What is it?
Well, the grapevine is a publication that it's like a small magazine that's put out monthly by the people at
World Services, maybe?
yeah, it's world, yeah, it's yeah, not in our area.
New York.
It's in New York. And you know, it's sent out weekly or monthly, yeah. Do you have a copy of that there, Ginny, and I could?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, maybe we can just hold it up for the
Yeah,
camera.
I can just hold it up for the camera here.
I think I've got one of the booklets from the Friends of Lois that they put out somewhere.
Here's the
Latest.
latest one. It's for, is this for December, Ginny?
I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah, here it is, right here.
You have to lift it up some more or pull it out a bit. A Gift of Sobriety. Okay, pull it back. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
the recent one. Nice.
Yep.
And they have stories of sobriety, jokes,
Yeah,
you
oh yeah,
know.
there's all kinds of stuff in there. It's you know, and it has a place for people can send in you know, send messages. And so it's really a good publication.
I think I think one of the first people that sobered up in Minnesota and got in the program, 12-step program, sobered up on reading. I think they didn't have meetings here at the time. You know,
Oh yeah,
I don't have
sure.
a real clear picture, you know, about that, but that's what I heard. And so, you know, the meeting in print is what they call it, and
Yep.
people sometimes think they can't stay sober without meetings, and I think if a person's willing to go to any lengths, they can stay sober no matter what.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You know, it's like the universe is conspiring to give us the best life possible, if you will. And you know,
Well,
good.
everywhere you go, no matter where you go in our country anyway, there's meetings that you can go to. And in fact, I used to go fishing on, you know, up in the northern part of Minnesota, which is way away from my meeting, and I would go to meetings up there during my vacation.
Grand
So
Marais or what?
you could go anyway, and you know, and of course, I've been at vacation in other spots in the country, and every city in the country has AA meetings that you can go to.
Yeah, when I went up to Grand Marais and Hovland, you know, I found some Friends of Bill W meetings and likewise Friends of Lois meetings. And so they're, you know, it's smaller groups than what you have in
Yeah,
the
oh yeah,
Twin
very
Cities,
much
but
right.
but as they say, it's quality, not quantity. So
That's right. That's for sure.
yeah. And part of the conversation might be who landed the biggest fish, but they did it sober, you know.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
so um so how did it impact your family when you got the DDoB and then got sober? You know, what did the backstory in that look like?
Well, my family lived actually me and my wife and one child at the time. Actually, no, actually there was two children at the time. Were at home, and I have a mom. My mom and dad lived about 2 miles from here. That's all. And
Wow.
yeah, and well, they don't anymore. My dad has passed away, and my mom and my mom as well. They both have passed away, but they lived for some time after. Especially my mom. She lived till till the age of, I don't know. She was in her 93 maybe, and So anyway, yeah, and my dad passed away some time ago. But
They were proud of you.
yeah, they were very happy that I got into the program, and it's one of those things where it's actually my dad never did get into the program. However, he was alcoholic too, and he just never admitted it, and never he was like a functioning alcoholic. But if that's possible,
Well,
I
depends
certainly
on who,
I certainly was not. I was not functioning at all.
well, for some of us, it's like, we're in the middle of the ocean by the time our boat gets on, catches fire and you can't stay in the boat. So you got to decide what you're going to do. You're going to go down with the boat or you're going to try and swim to shore. And I think swimming ashore is probably step
Yeah,
two.
that's
You
sort of
know,
what I did.
yeah,
Yeah, I
like
swam ashore.
swimming to shore is like a return to sanity, but we need a little extra help with that, you
Right on.
know. Yeah, the hope and the vision of a shoreline became really crisp for me when I sobered up, and but I had to get honest about my boat being on fire, you know. And
Oh
when
yeah,
the flames of hell are licking at your heels, it's a little
yeah,
harder to deny it,
yeah.
But it's funny how we can really deny things, how we, not being you and me, but certainly me, is I drove impaired and I ended up killing someone and I still didn't
Oh
know I was an alcoholic, you
no,
know. It never crossed my mind that that was even a possibility.
yeah.
So,
I got into
until,
a crash, but the other person was okay. Yeah, and it was just like a fender bender, and
She was hurt a little bit about it.
she might have been hurt a little bit. It was a
okay.
woman. I think she might have been hurt a little bit, but anyway,
Did
yeah.
you
But
ever make amends to her in any way?
no, I didn't. I don't even know who she was or anything. I lost track of that.
Yeah.
But
The victim in my case didn't really want anything to do with me, and I killed
eh,
her child, so
oh, man,
yeah, yeah, but
that's
now
awful.
today she and I are friends and
Oh, that's good.
she says she loves me and forgave me for what I did, but she knew I was out doing uh, service work and talking about the story. And ironically, it took her over maybe 20 years of you know, after I sobered up before she reached out to me. And, my sponsor said, do service work, get out there and speak about it. And, but eventually we became friends and now I use photographs from her life in my story.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
right. She sent me all these pictures of little Timmy, her baby. And but now she goes into jails and prisons and is telling her story, but she refers to it as our story,
Oh, isn't that just
Yeah, right.
really?
So yeah, so doing service work and in recovery, you just never know. And the odd thing is I would encourage anyone who maybe has hurt someone doing something impaired that they would probably not do sober, um, to not lose hope because, this woman literally told me that I'm one of the best things that ever happened to her in her life,
Oh boy, isn't
even
that wonderful?
right. And even though what happened was hands down the worst thing that ever happened in her life. But what we do with what happens to us can be very powerful. And,
Oh yes.
you know, um, and I think the big book says, that the worst things that have happened in our lives can be the best thing to help someone else. So, we can help others not go down the road we've gone down, and I'm sure in your years in recovery, you've met a lot of people whose lives you've touched. Have you done any sponsoring or sponsoring, for those that don't know what it is, just helping other people that have asked for help? And do you have a sponsor or anything like that?
I don't have a sponsor, no.
Have you ever had one?
Yes, I have had, for many years I did. And in fact, I had one who passed away.
Mm-hmm. Mine did too.
Yeah, so
You need a sponsor in your new group.
I what?
You need a sponsor in your new group.
I need one?
Well, you haven't.
No, I haven't found a sponsor in my new group, no. So
So that's a
I could,
possibility
it's
then.
probably something I could, in fact, I could even approach the leader of our group, and he might sponsor me. He's quite a good man.
And what do you think the value of listening to other people that have been sober for a while? What value is there in that?
Well, the value is that like you can speak of sobriety in that you've been through all these things, yeah, you were drunk and now you're sober, and you're helping others, and you can, like, one of the things I used to do, I don't do anymore now, but I used to go and talk at what was that called, Jenny? I don't remember now.
Treatment center.
Well, it wasn't a treatment center, but it was
St.
like,
Mary's?
no, I mean, I think I have talked there some, and I have gone to treatment centers, and that does help too. But I think it was, I know what it was detox. It was detox, and I
Oh,
used,
detox, got it.
yeah, I used to go to detox and talk, and I don't know, I just sort of lost the connection there, and I don't know, it might be something they just don't do anymore, but I used to talk at those, like even
cool.
week.
Yeah, I think they still do some detox things. Different groups bring in meetings.
Yeah, that could
Oh,
be.
yeah, I know that there's a group.
Never gotten into it, and it'd be something good for us to do.
Other stuff, we don't know everything.
Yeah, they do some other things there in my group.
We're doing.
I'm newer to this group. I was in another meeting for, boy, most of the years of my sobriety, and I continued to be in that group, and they're just, I'm losing everything here because I have a low battery here.
Uh-oh. Yeah, we don't want to lose you here.
Okay.
You have a battery there, Jenny, that can charge it.
Yeah,
And we can, I think we can do something here to,
it'll take a minute.
So plug it in, you mean?
yeah, I think,
We've got an old house and not as many outlets.
over here, right?
All right, good. I'm glad you got your phone plugged in and didn't
Yeah.
make the audience wait on that part. But so one of the things that we're touching on is how it made you feel when you were talking at the detox. And if you ever got feedback from people, or do you think you helped anyone? And
Well, I didn't get any feedback, by the time I got home or anything like that, but I get feedback when I was there, and the people at the detox center said there, like the problem with detox was that like it's just like an overnight type of thing, and they don't really do much in the way of follow-up.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
And unless somebody is in really bad shape and then they got into treatment. And that's something that I was never able to find out about, them.
Sure.
So
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And it's good to know that sort of thing because, most people do not give you feedback, and sometimes when you get it is in, whether it's at detox or anywhere else, the feedback might be negative, it might be neutral, it might be obligatory, but on occasion you'll get some, you know, it's like divine timing or something, you have a divine appointment with somebody more or less, and then, it flips a switch in their consciousness.
for
But,
sure.
we're just burying seeds sometimes, and sprinkling the seeds, and if we're lucky enough to put some dirt on top of the seed and give it some sun and water, that's great, but you just
Yeah,
never know where it's gonna go. But it's in
yeah,
the nature
that's
of every seed for it to be healthy if it's tended to, and humans are the same way. So, um, so I I don't like talking too much about me because this interview is about you. But we're both here together, so you're making me think of a couple of things. And occasionally somebody will say to me that they were quite happy that they occasioned upon my story and that it really helped to them. And I used to work at a particular gas station as a manager, and I got the owner's permission of the gas station to put up a sign on the marquee that says God allows U-turns, you know?
yeah,
And so I think people would see that if they believed in God, they might do a U-turn, come in and get some gas.
yeah,
And if they didn't believe in God, they might just keep on going and never come back. It's hard to say.
and
But
run out.
good point. So, and um and I took a picture on that marquee, but we had so many complaints that after about 2 weeks, the owner said, "Yeah, I think we need to take that down." And so we did, and that was fine. But I actually, I had a keychain that says "God allows U-turns," and I had a bumper sticker on my car, and it was a thing that was going around back then. And one day I'm at a meeting, 12-step meeting in Maplewood, and I had a home group there for about 8 years, and some fella sitting at the table with me looked at my keys that were sitting on top of the table near my book and stuff, and he saw the God allows U-turns. He says, "Oh wow, I was uh, I saw that on a marquee somewhere, and I was on my way to commit suicide, and I saw that sign, and I changed my mind, and
Wow.
and I decided to go, get sober instead." And I said, I told him, I said, "Well, I was the one that I'm pretty sure no one else has that had a marquee up that said God allows U-turns other than the one I put up." And, so
Boy,
he was kind of shocked, and I was shocked to run into him, right?
oh man, that's wonderful.
Right, right. So he said it saved his life, and he saved his own life, really.
Oh
But,
yeah, he did, but you planted the seed though.
right, right, and this is kind of what we're doing here with the Sober Wise Guy podcast. And, how old were you when you sobered up?
How old was I?
Yeah.
I was 30 years old then.
Okay, you sobered up even younger than I did. I sobered up at 33.
Oh yeah,
So it's never too late. you know?
Right.
And I've seen guys sober up that were in their 50s and 60s and even 70s, and so and then those young whippersnappers that sober up like when they're 16 or 18, I'm thinking, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Actually, I think I might have been 29, Jenny. Yeah, I think I was 29 years old because
Okay,
I'm 80 now and I've been sober for,
okay.
51 years. So
Yeah, the math works out.
I say
So
29.
so you were married to Jenny at that time?
Yes,
Wow, how long have y'all been married?
we've been married for 57 years, I believe.
Holy bucket, she put up with you for 6 years before you sobered up. That's quite
Oh,
the
yeah.
testament.
Oh, boy, it's
I'm trying
amazing.
to be funny.
It, it's amazing we were still together, but
It is, it's quite a miracle that,
oh yes, because
the people that are in our sister program, whatever you want to call it, they're like the biggest hearted people in the world, and um, what they went through because of our drinking is pretty it's such a testament to the human condition to have resilience and to overcome difficulties,
it sure is.
and yeah, and I can see the gratitude in your eyes, my friend, thinking
Oh,
about Jenny.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, yes. Yeah, there is gratitude. I mean, that's an important thing. Gratitude. Uh, I like that one saying, attitude of gratitude. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's
I
really,
think yeah, that's a lifesaver, and
it
you
sure is.
know what are one or more of your slogans that you like? We have slogans in recovery, right? So is
Oh,
there
yeah.
any that you favor?
Uh, like, of course, one day at a time, and like sometimes I'll use 1 hour at a time or 1 minute at a time, and that's so important. Just being in the now and looking at your surroundings and listening to your surroundings. That's all important.
Hmm. I think when I was drinking, my surroundings looked different, um, and my focus wasn't so hot.
I mean,
Yeah.
mine either.
Yeah, and it's like you said when we first started off about being able to remember things, that you did now that you're sober. So,
Yeah.
um, I was one of those unfortunate people that pretty much remember every disgusting thing I ever did drunk.
Oh man.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
didn't. I would just black out.
Mm.
Oh,
So, what was your longest blackout? Not that you would remember, because if it's a blackout, how would you know
yeah,
that
yeah,
you?
black out. But yeah, I would say probably less than a day, but
Wow.
quite a few hours.
Yeah, they have a lot of alcohol in you to shut your brain down for a
Oh
few
yeah,
hours.
yes.
And you were kind of an episodic drunk too, you didn't drink every day.
Yeah, I did not. I was not one of those that drank every single day of the week, but I was more episodic.
It's in the family.
And it's in my family too. My dad was alcoholic. My grandfather was alcoholic, and I have uncles that were alcoholic.
Any
All,
women that were alcoholics?
some of the yeah, my actually my one of my sisters was alcoholic. She died of alcoholism.
Wow. What did that look like? I mean, I'm
It
not
was
trying to be
it was
morbid,
not
but
good. No, it was she was out in California and living in San Diego. And, man, I went out to visit her and, I went out to see her right before she died. And, she actually died when we were there. And, like she had, her place was just filled with alcohol. I mean, it just everywhere.
Did she die in her house or at the hospital or what?
Yeah, yeah, it was in her house, yes.
Wow.
She was living in a condo at the time.
Throwing the bottles into the dumpster and all the drugs came.
Yeah, well, yeah, we threw the bottles that she had in the dumpster. And unfortunately some drunks came and got into it, and they were happy, but but yeah, that wasn't a good deal, that's for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the alcoholic that was in my life drank herself to death, and I don't talk about that on these shows too much. But since we're kind of on topic of someone that that was near and dear to us that died of
Yeah.
alcoholism, her daughter found her dead in bed. She
Oh
had been
no.
on a binge, yeah, and
Oh
she binged a lot, and she told me she was going to commit suicide a number of times, just go get a couple bottles of vodka and go out to the woods somewhere and just drink until she dies. And um, and there's really nothing I could do to prevent it.
yeah.
I didn't cause it, I can't cure it, and I can't control it. The best thing I could do is just you know, t take good care of me so um, she at least has a healthy Timothy in her life. But, um, after we broke up, I finally left the relationship, because I was one of those people that just chose to exit, and I had prayed
Yeah.
about it and I felt like I got an answer and I followed the answer. Um, and, um, and a little part of me wondered if she would have died if I would have stayed in the relationship, if I would have saved her. But, I kind of doubt it. It's hard to say, but I can't give myself any blame any more than if she stayed sober, I can give myself any credit. So
Yeah.
if I didn't cause it and I can't control it or cure it, then, where's this ego blame game coming from? So it's
Yeah.
I'm not going to beat the dog snot out of myself, but I know people loved me back to health, and you've got a lovely wife in your life who I've met, and you know, um, and you're enjoying a life of recovery, and you're doing it
Right.
together. That's kind of cool too. You're going to
Yeah.
meetings together, and
Yeah.
I'm a friend of Lois too, and that's where I met you, was in that meeting. And I didn't know you all were married at first. I just thought you were a couple of folks that were in a meeting together, and I'm not the brightest bulb, but I didn't put it together. I wonder why those two are always sitting next to each other. So, you know,
We've only been
and
sitting next to each other for about 50, how many years, Jenny? 57 years, yes.
geez, I was born in 57, so that's a good hitch. Yeah. What do you think the key to your having a successful marriage is?
Well, it's like AA in that you're living one day at a time and you're living in the now, and you try to listen to each other, and if you get too far off track, then you get back on track, and it's just one day at a time for the marriage too, you know.
Yeah, I think the one day at a time, when I first sobered up, the slogans just generally were pretty helpful.
Oh,
This
yeah.
too shall pass was a lifesaver. One day at a time was so useful. And that one day at a time has been such a blessing through the years, though, no
Oh, yeah.
matter how long I've been sober.
Yep. For the whole time I've been sober. No doubt.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
The, I think one of them that really I just hated was Do the Next Right Thing. I hated that one, because it sounded like it was judgmental but what I didn't know is I've been busy beating myself up for so long that I heard that as something other than what they intended it to mean. Um, oh, actually, come to think of it, I am wearing a one day at a time shirt. I don't know.
All right. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, hoodie, right?
Great.
I don't know if we can show it off here.
Yeah.
I've
There
got
we go.
all,
That's nice.
yeah, oh, well, it's there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I got this, at a treatment center bookstore called Serenity Books
Nice.
up at Hazelden Center City, which is a
Oh,
treatment
yeah.
center. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And I worked at a couple of their facilities, one in Plymouth and the other in St. Paul. And I actually got to speak up there at Hazelden once at the
Oh,
second
nice.
Sunday program. Have y'all ever been up to that?
No, I haven't. No.
Yeah, they when COVID came around, they kind of put the kibosh on that. And so they're not doing it now, but we're looking at possibly restarting it. And it might be at Fellowship Club in St. Paul. We'll see. We'll see. But we'd bring in speakers, either alumni. What's that?
That would be really good.
Yeah, yeah, and it'd be local. So,
For sure. Yep.
and if we get it going, I'll try and remember to give you a holler. Heck, I
Oh,
might
yeah.
even,
Really.
yeah, probably
Yeah.
even interview someone from there, maybe for Sober Wise Guy, and get the word out.
All right. That's good.
So, what do you think? I'm gonna throw this out there because I think Jenny's within earshot, and we're gonna get a twofer out of this.
Okay.
But Jenny, what do you think has been most helpful to you as a family member of a recovering alcoholic, being in, the Friends of Lois? If you care to share, if not, that's fine. I mean, I know you didn't agree to be on here, but
Oh, yeah. She's happy to be on here. Okay. Hold on for that.
Yeah, here I am.
there
Okay,
she is.
ask me the question again now.
Well, what do you think has been a blessing in your life as a result of going through the hardships that you went through with Bob before he sobered up, and what got you into the Friends of Lois program, and what, I guess it's a three-part thing, but what do you think the best thing that came out of being involved in the steps, for you?
Well, I think the best thing was the honesty of the program, and of course, honesty between husband and wife, and then the wonderful people that we have met that know how to have a good time without alcohol too. It's funny, our friends, maybe a few of them have one drink once in a while, but mostly nobody drinks, nobody smokes, and we laugh and have a good time. And quite a few are in AA or Al-Anon, so we have a common thread. And I really think these days, especially with the young people, the bar scene and the drinking. Remember back when we were drinking, people were drinking beer. Nowadays, it's cool. You have your glass of wine, and I think a lot of young women, especially, are into it. You know, so it's a changed world. It's not as simple as it was. You know,
Sure enough.
and to
Why do
go
you
to
still go?
our groups are so important, and it's wonderful. You've been in that group with me, and all my gal friends, and there's mostly women there, you know, they all love my husband too. And I think he appreciates that, you know. It's good at our age to keep social interaction, and these are positive people, you know, and it lifts us up and gives
Yeah,
us
it's like
a perspective.
I feel like we're basking in the sunlight of the spirit sometimes, you know, and we didn't,
Yeah.
you know, you don't want to put on any tanning lotion because you don't want to block the sunlight of the spirit, you know. So thanks for
But it
laughing, Bob.
is. Oh, I mean, I so look forward to Al-Anon. Years ago, both in AA and Al-Anon, do you remember all the smoking that was going on?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When
And
I sobered up, alcohol, you know, made me just want to puke if I smell it. But when I sobered up, they had cigarette smoke and coffee, and for me, cigarette smoke and coffee was like the smell of love, you know. Although after a while, I was getting kind of sick of the smoke, though, because
well,
I didn't smoke, so.
yeah, I know Bob would come home from his AA meetings and he'd reek, and I'd
Mhm.
say, go take a shower and, you know,
Right.
wash
Yeah.
those clothes.
Yeah.
So
It was
that
pretty tough.
that's
You know
changed.
how you can see the age of a tree through its rings?
Yeah.
I mean, you go to a clubhouse where they had smoking, you could have the layers of yellow nicotine stains, and you could probably cut through them and get the layers and find out how long they've been smoking in there. Oh, oh, maybe it's because it was such a silly joke. Oh, I think we lost your
Oh,
camera
yeah.
there.
Oh,
Yeah, you
man.
froze. Oh, are you losing your power?
Are you there?
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
I'm
know.
here.
We're plugged in. Those.
Okay. Well, it was just a silly joke anyway about the rings of a tree for the age of a tree, and then the layers of um, nicotine, counting the layers to find out how many years they've been smoking in the
Oh,
in the
gosh.
room. So,
Oh, I'm so
but
glad smoking doesn't seem to be as prevalent, but then there's other stuff out there now. So
right, right. Yeah,
anyway,
times definitely changed.
I'm gonna get going here, but thanks.
Okay,
All right.
good. Thanks for weighing in. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So
Yeah.
Bob,
Yes.
what do you think your future holds for you as a person in recovery? And, you know, I mean, we're thinking about our mortality here because we're not spring chickens anymore.
Yeah.
And, you
Sure.
know, what do you think that looks like? How does it make you feel to think about it?
Well, you know, I look forward to the future, and you know, but the thing is that I do it one day at a time. That I've learned that from the program, to live one day at a time and live even 1 minute at a time, and live in the now. That's the thing for me, and I don't even try to really project into the future, because I really don't know what that's going to be anyway. I don't know how my health will be or anything else. So, you know, it's just one day at a time, and just live in the now. That's that's the
Yeah,
story for me.
amen. You know, I'm pretty sure if you would have been drinking for the last 51 years, your health would look quite different if you
Oh,
even
I would have been.
survived that long.
Oh, I would have been long gone. Just got it
Right. Ditto. Yeah, I think
all.
you know, I think the police were my personal intervention team personally, you know, so
Yeah,
kept
that
me
was it
from
for
drinking
me too.
myself to death. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it for me too.
Yeah. You know, it's like one of the benefits I think that Sober Wise Guy has as a podcast is people get a chance to put their memory out there. And, you know, the day is going to come when neither one of us are here anymore, you know,
Right.
but our voices will still be here. Our stories will still be
Yep.
here. And somebody's going to, you know, someday say, I wish I could hear Bob's voice again. And, you know,
Yeah,
wish I could
yeah,
hear his laughter, wish I could hear him tell stories and stuff.
sure.
And so, you know, in that context and interest, why don't you share a story that you love telling to your friends or something, you know, that you share with people?
Um, just any kind of story that I share.
Yeah, whether it's, you know, just something funny that happened in your life and you guys laugh about it or, you know,
Well,
anything. Doesn't matter.
yeah, I can't really think of anything right now, but
Okay. Um, I you know, I remember when the federal marshals, U.S. Marshals were transporting me from Louisiana back here to Minnesota, and they put on a leg brace on my leg so I couldn't run, you
oh,
know, and it
yeah,
kept my legs straight, you know, so, and it, unless you could hop faster on one leg than they could run on the two legs to catch you, you're probably not going anywhere.
yeah.
And I had to, you know, I've got one big burly fella on my left and one on the right. You know, the seats were three abreast until you got closer to the front of the plane. Then I think it was two. And so they had me kind of like a sardine between these two guys, you know. So
Yeah.
and I can't move very well, and my leg's sticking straight out, you know. So. So I said, you know, I told him, I said, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. And, you know, and they both looked at me when I started talking, then they leaned forward and looked at each other, and then just both leaned back. They didn't say anything, you know. And I waited maybe a minute and I said, you know, I said I have to go to the bathroom. And they did the same routine. They leaned forward, looked at each other, and kind of like, nah. And they leaned back. There, one was waiting for the other to maybe nod yes. Um, and then I told him, I said, well, look, here's the deal. I told you I got to go to the bathroom. Now, either you can sit by me after I pee and poop my pants and smell that for the next hour or two, or you can let me go to the bathroom, you know, and I'm willing. I mean, whatever. I got no choice. It's time. And, you know, so they like leaned forward and looked at each other and they had this worried look in their eyes, you know. And the one on my left, it was just by the aisle, said, oh, right, you know, so he let me out. And I hobbled up to the bathroom. And you know how it is in a plane, those bathrooms aren't quite so big.
Oh, they're
And
tiny.
you're right, and I needed to sit down and to, you know, to go number two, and having one leg in that brace was very difficult. Unfortunately,
Oh,
I was very flexible, so I put one leg straight up in the air, basically, like a yoga master or something, and I'm
yeah.
holding the side of the seat, you know, with my hands, one on each side, trying to balance over it and go on number two, and we hit turbulence.
Oh, no.
And yep, and the turbulence were really the worst turbulence I've ever been into a plane. I thought God's got a pretty bad sense of humor here, you know? And I'm bouncing up and down, bouncing off of the toilet, scared
Oh,
to death. I thought, oh my God, they're going to find me this way, you know, dead and covered with stuff, you know? And so the turbulence ended, and I managed to clean up really quick, and I got the flock out of there. And so you know, that was one of the stories from my life that I will on rare occasion
Well,
repeat.
yeah, it's one of those that you don't normally want to repeat for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a rough one.
Oh, yeah.
And but it never crossed my mind that if I would have been in sobriety, that I wouldn't have been on that jet that day.
Oh, man, for
You
sure.
know, yeah, I wouldn't have gotten arrested and you know, etc. And I ran away from treatment up here in Minnesota because I didn't think I was an alcoholic and I thought they were all crazy in the treatment center. So, you know, so here we got stories and, you know, I don't know if that jogged your memory on a story, even if it's just a story from when you were fishing or something, like with a friend, you know. Got any fishing stories?
Uh, you know, drinking, fishing stories or,
Doesn't matter, just stories.
well, you know, I used to, I don't fish as much as I used to. In fact, the last couple of years I haven't fished at all. But I used to be quite a fisherman, and I used to love muskie fishing.
Wow,
And
you've actually caught muskies?
oh yeah, and you know, catch and release though. It's always
Yeah.
catch and release. I never would keep them. And uh, one day I was over in Little Lake Harriet in Minneapolis, and I caught 3 muskies on one day, and that was just a catch of the century for me. That was just
Wow.
fantastic. Yeah, but you know, it's always was all catch and release, and we'd take pictures of it, pictures of the fish, the muskie,
Uh-huh.
and then
You
release it. You know,
nice.
yeah.
Did
But
do you still have any of those pictures?
I don't. I think I do. Yeah. Where?
Maybe if you
where-
can take a picture and show it to me or
Yeah.
something. Um,
Yeah.
I'll create something for
Yeah.
you.
I can do that at some point here, but I don't.
Oh, you don't have to do it now. It's just a
No.
thought,
Yeah.
but
Be able to do it right now. But yeah, Jenny can do it for me. I think.
all right. Yeah, sure. Just send me some pictures of you with the muskies
Yeah. Yeah.
and I might put it in when I create your collage for the YouTube video and stuff.
All right. That
So
sounds good.
I'm gonna just have one last question before we close out the sober wise guy. Um, is there something that you wouldn't mind sharing with a person that's maybe struggling with alcohol today that is watching this video? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that you know, when we're in the throes of alcoholism and uh, struggling with sobriety and trying to listen to those mottos and do what we're told in AA, that we just have to hang in there and uh, and do it one day at a time, and sometimes it's 1 minute at a time. And I mean, I really stress that part just to be in the now and don't worry about the past, don't think about the future, just live in the now. And as long as we're sober right now, we're okay. You know, and that's the name of the game.
Very cool.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, we've got all the tools we need to have a good life if we just say yes. And,
Yes, that's right.
you know, and I'm going to leave you with one little tiny story, Bob, before we close. Is that
Okay, all right.
okay?
Yeah.
All right. So it's an old Zig Ziglar joke, and
Okay.
it just cracked me up. You remember Zig Ziglar
Oh, yes.
by chance?
Yep.
PMA guy, positive mental attitude guy. So, for those of you who might not be familiar with him, but he said, that he had been jogging on a regular basis around a lake. And he noticed every day a fisherman would be out on the side of the lake. And he thought it was the strangest thing ever that this guy would throw back decent sized fish, but only keep the little small ones, like the ones that are the size of your hand or smaller, and he just thought that's so strange. I mean, that he's keeping the ones that aren't so good eating and frying them up, but the big ones that would have more meat on them and probably even taste better, and he kept throwing them back, and he just finally, his curiosity one day got the best of him, and he approached the fella and he said, "Sir, I'm sorry to, you know, stop your flow here of fishing, but I got a question for you if you don't mind." And he says, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" And he said, "I've noticed that you've been throwing back the little itty bitty fish and throwing back the big fish, but keeping the itty bitty ones." I said, "Why are you doing that?" And the guy chuckled and pointed at his frying pan and said, "Well, it should be obvious. All I got is this itty bitty frying pan." Right?
There you go.
hmm
Funny.
So, right. So here we go through life, thinking that life has to match the frying pan instead of getting the right size frying pan, right? So,
Right.
so, yeah. Well, I think, humor, is a very great tool for healing in my
Boy,
world,
it
at least.
is.
So,
Here, it
so,
is
all right, brother.
important in sobriety too.
Amen. I so appreciate your being a guest on the Incomplete Skeptic Sober Wise Guy series, and keep on plugging away. And I guess
I
we'll
sure
see you
will.
probably at the Wednesday Friends of Lois meeting.
All right, that sounds
And Jenny, don't throw any shoes at Bob, okay?
good. She she said okay.
Okay, good. So you remember the story when Lois threw a shoe at Bob, at Bill W?
No.
All right. Well, I'll send you that story. It's kind of a
Yeah.
funny story. All
Oh,
right.
okay, sounds good.
Okay, we'll holler at you
Hey,
later. Peace out,
great,
brother.
great to talk to you,
All right,
Timothy.
you too.